Hello, this is Chapter 1, Contemporary Management. Bear with me 1 second, please. Our learning objectives are to describe what management is, why management is important, what managers do, and how managers use organizational resources efficiently and effectively to achieve organizational goals. Number 2, distinguish among planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, which are the 4 main principal managerial functions, and explain how managers' ability to handle each one affects organizational performance. And lastly, differentiate among 3 levels of management and understand the tasks and responsibilities of managers at different levels in the organizational hierarchy. Distinguish among 3 kinds of managerial skill and explain why managers are divided into different departments to perform their tasks more efficiently and effectively. Discuss some major changes in management practices today that have occurred as a result of globalization and the use of advanced technologies, and also discuss the principal challenges managers face in today's increasingly competitive global environment. A manager's challenge: how Airbnb's CEO manages in a turbulent economy. How do managers contribute to their organization's success? The global pandemic forced Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky to make difficult decisions to keep the company afloat. He consolidated departments, slashed budgets, and laid off thousands of employees, strategies that helped Airbnb weather turbulent times over the past years. What is management? Organizations. Organizations are collections of people who work together and coordinate their actions to achieve a wide variety of goals or desired future outcomes. All managers work in organizations. Management: the planning, organization, leading, and controlling of human and other resources to achieve organizational goals efficiently and effectively. Resources include assets such as people and their skills, know-how, and experience, machinery, raw materials, computers and information technology, and patents, financial capital, and loyal customers and employees. Achieving high performance, a manager's goal. One of the most important goals that organizations and their members try to achieve is to provide some kind of good or service that customers value or desire. It takes a balance of the quality needs of customers against the pressure to be cost effective. At Airbnb, Chesky's goal is to meet travelers and remote workers' needs for a place to sleep, work, relax, and or seek out adventure. Organizational performance is a measure of how efficiently and effectively managers use available resources to satisfy and achieve organizational goals. At Momentive, which was formerly SurveyMonkey, Xander Lurie encouraged efficiency by eliminating an unsuccessful business while expanding others, and continued to foster a collaborative environment in which he encourages employees to stay curious. Efficiency. Efficiency is a measure of how well or how productively resources are used to achieve a goal. Wendy's fat fryers use less oil and are quicker. Effectiveness. It's a measure of the appropriateness of the goals an organization is pursuing and the degree to which the organization achieves those goals. McDonald's resumed their all-day breakfast after suspending it during the pandemic. Figure 1.1 shows efficiency, effectiveness, and performance within an organization. High-performing organizations are effective and efficient. Why study management? Well, your future in organizations depends on understanding complexities, responding to environmental contingencies, and making decisions that are ethical and effective. Studying and practicing the behaviors of good managers and high-performing companies will help you and your future employer succeed. In the U.S., general managers earn a median wage of $97,970, with a projected growth in job openings of between 4 and 7% between now and 2031. The 4 functions of management: number 1, planning. Choose appropriate organizational goals and courses of action to best achieve these goals. Organizing. Establish task and authority relationships that allow people to work together to achieve organizational goals. Leading. Motivate, coordinate, and energize individuals and groups to work together to achieve organizational goals. Controlling. Establish accurate measuring and monitoring systems to evaluate how well the organization has achieved its goals. And the 4 principal functions of management: planning steps. 1, decide which goals the organization will pursue. 2, decide what strategies to adopt to attain those goals. And 3, decide how to allocate organizational resources. Managers identify and select appropriate organizational goals and develop strategies for how to achieve high performance. Organizing. Structuring work relationships in a way that allows organizational members to work together to achieve organizational goals. Of the 4 principal functions of management: managers deciding how best to organize resources, particularly human resources. Organizational structure, a formal system of task and reporting relationships that coordinates and motivates organizational members so that they work together to achieve organizational goals. For instance, Airbnb's COVID-19 challenge that actually, all those sacrifices actually helped save the company. Continue with the 4 principal functions of management. Leading. It's articulating a clear vision and energizing and enabling organizational members so they understand the part they play in achieving organizational goals. An organization's vision is a short, succinct, and inspiring statement of what the organization intends to become and the goals it is seeking to achieve its desired future state. It involves managers using their power, personality, influence, persuasion, and communication skills to coordinate people and groups. Controlling. Evaluating how well an organization is achieving its goals and taking action to maintain or improve that performance. Managers monitor performance of individuals, departments, and the organization as a whole to determine if they are meeting performance standards. The outcome of the control process is the ability to measure performance accurately and regulate organizational efficiency and effectiveness. Managers must decide which goals to measure. For example, Match Group. Bernard Kim is the CEO of Match Group. Prior, he was president of Zynga for 6 years. He also has experience at Electronic Arts and Walt Disney Company. Kim acquired the Take-Two Interactive. His efforts at global expansion, Hinge in Germany and HyperConnect in South Korea. Kim's focus on cost controls while innovation in new products and services. Subscriber base of more than 16 million worldwide. Managerial roles identified by Mitzberg is decisional. So the type of role you have decisional. The specific role here is entrepreneur. An example: commit organizational resources to develop innovative goods and services, decide to expand internationally to obtain new customers for the organization's products. Decisional, another type of role. Disturbance handler. Move quickly to take corrective action to deal with unexpected problems facing the organization from the external environment. A crisis like an oil spill, or from the internal environment, such as producing faulty goods or services. Another type of role, decisional. A resource allocator. Allocate organizational resources among different tasks and departments of the organization. Set budgets and salaries of middle and first level managers. Decisional role again, a negotiator. Work with suppliers, distributors, and labor unions to reach agreements about the quality and price of input, technical, and human resources. Work with other organizations to establish agreements to pool resources to work on joint projects. Type of role, interpersonal, that would be a figurehead. Interpersonal would be a leader. Interpersonal here would be liaison. And these are the different examples of roles and activities for the different specific roles. Monitor, disseminator, spokesman as well. Levels and skills of managers. In the department, a group of managers and employees who work together and possess similar skills or use the same knowledge, tools, and techniques. Example, the manufacturing, accounting, engineering, or sales department. Then you have the different levels of managers in Figure 1.3. First line managers, middle managers, top managers, and then, of course, the CEO. The first-line managers, often called supervisors, are responsible for the daily supervision of the non-managerial employees, paint form and overseeing a crew of painters at a university. Middle managers. Supervisors first-line managers, which are up there, responsible for finding the best way to use resources or to achieve organizational goals. High school principal or marketing manager. Top managers, responsible for the performance of all departments, cross-departmental responsibility, establish organizational goals, decide how different departments should interact, monitor how well middle managers in each department use resources to achieve goals. President of a university. The relative amount of time managers spend on the 4 managerial functions. So top managers, a lot of planning, organizing, leading, controlling. Middle managers, seems more leading. First line managers, the same thing. Types of managerial skills. Conceptual skills. The ability to analyze and diagnose a situation and distinguish between cause and effect. Human skills. The ability to understand, alter, lead, and control the behavior of other individuals and groups. Technical skills. Job-specific knowledge and techniques required to perform an organizational role. Types and levels. Managers, here we go, CEO, top managers, middle, frontline, and all different aspects, research and development, marketing, manufacturing, accounting, materials. Core competency, specific set of departmental skills, knowledge, and experience that allows one organization to outperform another. Skills for a competitive advantage. Dell's materials management produced PCs at lower cost than competitors. Recent changes in management practices. Restructuring. Restructuring is downsizing an organization by eliminating the jobs of large numbers of top, middle, and first-line managers and non-managerial employees. Outsourcing is contracting with another company, usually abroad, to perform a work activity the company previously performed itself. Empowerment and self-managed teams. Empowerment involves giving employees more authority and responsibility over how they perform their work activities. Valve Corporation has no managers, no hierarchy, or top-down control. Employees pick their own projects. Self-managed work teams. These are groups of employees who assume collective responsibility for organizing, supervising, and controlling their own work activities. Also remote workers. Challenges for management in a global environment. Build a competitive advantage. Maintain ethical and socially responsible standards. Manage a diverse workforce. Utilize new technologies. And practice global crisis management. Building competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? Well, it's the ability of one organization to outperform other organizations because it produces desired goods or services more efficiently and effectively than its competitors. Innovation. It's the process of creating new or improved goods and services or developing better ways to produce or provide them. And what are the building blocks of competitive advantage? Well, in order to achieve competitive advantage, you have to be innovative and flexible. You have to be able to be responsive to your customers. You have to provide a quality product or service, and you have to be efficient. Turnaround management. This is an organization that my son works for. It's the creation of a new vision for a struggling company using a new approach to planning and organizing to make better use of a company's resources and allow it to survive and eventually prosper. CEO Nickel has turned Chipotle around after food scares in 2015 and 2017. And by the way, I found it very unusual that Chipotle kept on incurring these deaths and injuries from food poisoning within their organization. I think it was, in my opinion anyway, it was happening so frequently, I had to imagine that it was somehow manufactured by someone internally. Because it kept happening over and over again. But Chipotle is very popular, and they did turn things around. Maintaining ethical and socially responsible standards. Managers are under considerable pressure to make the best use of resources. A healthy outcome could be that managers question how the organization is working, finding new and better ways to plan, organize, lead, and control. Too much pressure may include an unhealthy response with managers behaving unethically and even illegally. Focus on DEI and B, a bold model for diversity in video games. Laura Mealy of Electronic Arts overcame prejudice of women in high offices, one of the few female executives in video game development. Advanced analytics that create alternative scenarios on demand, and refocus ads for Battlefield 3 to digital, and Battlefield 3 became EA's fastest selling game. Managing a diverse workforce. To create a highly trained and motivated workforce, managers must establish human resource management, or HRM, procedures that are legal and fair and do not discriminate against organizational members. Accenture earned top spot out of 100 companies for a third year on Refinitiv's Diversity and Inclusion Index. Utilizing new technologies. Efficient and effective technologies that link and enable managers and employees to better perform their jobs regardless of role. For example, UPS uses Orion. It's a GPS system that optimizes the driver's routes. Practicing global crisis management. Create teams to facilitate rapid decision-making and communication. Establish the organizational chain of command and reporting relationships necessary to mobilize a fast response. Recruit and select the right people to lead and work in such teams, and develop bargaining and negotiating strategies to manage the conflict that arise. Practicing global crisis management. Natural causes. We have crises that arise because of natural causes, which include hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, famine, and diseases. Human causes. Human-created crises result from factors such as industrial pollution, inattention to employee safety, climate change, and the destruction of the natural habitat or environment, and geopolitical tensions, and terrorism, and the recent pandemic. I thank you for listening.